Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Cleve and Me live on YouTube. Man, we got a special day today as the Royal Rumble is upon us. I would like to call this the playoffs of wrestling. It is the start of a magical run to April, is what we know as WrestleMania. And I cannot wait for the people to be involved and get with us. And hey, if you're on the live stream, if you're watching us tonight, please chat. Please have a good time, interact. We'll answer all questions and we'll list your comments as well. So be on the look for that. But I want to bring in some very special guests today. And as always, we have some great guys. Alex, who has joined us before from Row 7 Podcast, Tampa Tones, is going to join us as well. And along with Ryu Kendrick, developmental wrestler, is joining us as well from his hood in St. Louis. So we got other great guests like Cleveland and Billy on. Hopefully they join us sooner than later, but we're going to get things started. And you know what? Without further ado, Alex and Tones, how we doing tonight and how are things going?
All is well, my friend. All is well. I'm ready for tonight. I'm pumped.
Ready to rumble.
And you know what? I mean, we could talk for all day, but we're gonna have just about an hour here to get with all the guys and get some good content. So another guest I want to bring in, developmental wrestler in a minute. Again, Ryu Kendrick, who's going to give us his analysis, even though he can't give us predictions. But you know what? Starting with you two guys, I just want to talk about, man, when I say Royal Rumble, what comes to mind? It doesn't have to be a match. It doesn't have to be. It could just be as simple as the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Alex, starting with you. Tell us where we could find you, and tell us what when you hear Royal Rumble, what do you think about?
Well, thank you for having me again, Joe. I really appreciate it. You can follow me at Row 7 Podcast on Twitter, Spotify, Instagram, Google Podcasts, Deezer, Stitcher, all over the place. And for me, I guess the anticipation, like you said, the countdown is huge for me. And then you never know who's gonna come through the curtains and whose music is gonna hit. It could be, your standard, Sami Zayn, or it could be a CM Punk, for example, as a shot in the dark type of thing. So that's what it is for me.
Over to you, Tones. Where could the people find you, and what's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear Royal Rumble?
Yeah, thanks for having me first and foremost, Alex. Great to talk to you again, buddy. Always a great time chatting with you, whether it's Row 7 here, Bucketeers, or wherever. But you could follow me at Tricky Tones, BGTE on Twitter, Tones A-Lister on Instagram. Check out my two podcasts, Bucketeers, that's more Buccaneers football coverage. And then I got a Cardboard and Cracker Jacks podcast as well that is memorabilia and card collecting and baseball. And the Rumble tonight, I'm just hoping that WWE doesn't fumble it. They fumble pay-per-views more often than not lately, but they seem to be doing better as of late. Let's see if they'll continue with that better trajectory or if they'll revert more so to the 2017 2018 stomping grounds-esque pay-per-views that drove some fans away.
And I mean, oh man, I'm gonna let Cleveland here in a minute because it's the Royal Rumble. We got to get up for this. You got to give the people what they want, and we hope they do. They get on tonight and perform at a high level. But hey, it's all about Cleve and me. I've been missing them a little bit here. Cleve, welcome to the show, man. How we doing? It's our first live broadcast. Let's get it.
Clevey!
I'm doing all good. Hey, everybody. I'm really pumped about this one, actually. And I'm pumped about the Royal Rumble tonight. I'm really looking forward to this. So let's get it going.
And hey, as you can all see, thank you for your time again. You all got great stuff going. I got my guy John Cena behind me.
Alex.
Yowie wowie, sure. I see
Wowie
this
wowie.
famous Honk Mania, and Cleveland is always coming in hot. So see you in a minute here, but Cleveland first. You know what? Tell people where they could find you at, and you've missed this the second you were out. What when you hear the word Royal Rumble? Is it a moment? Is it the countdown? Is it what brings that energy to you? Come on, we need the energy now today. Let's go.
Man, I think it's just the surprise of it. You don't know who's coming out at which number. Every year or so, it's always two or three legends you haven't seen in years making a return. And in the last few years, WWE have actually surprised a lot of people with who won the Rumble. So they're on a good trend instead of it being like the last few years before where you knew a certain guy was going to win the Rumble. But now, like after the Shinsuke won it, Drew McIntyre, it's been a very like few surprises. People you would have never thought would have won the Rumble.
And you know what? For all the people joining us out there that might not be the biggest wrestling people or be up to speed, but just watch them because they love the people that are helping me fill this great show. This is playoff time. This is
Oh
everything
yeah.
here tonight. I mean, Royal Rumble, you see people watching this all over. The odds are out there who's going to win. People are having fun with their friends, taking bets and doing all that great stuff. So we're going to get right into it, though. And a couple of names that everybody should know, especially in this room here, is last night, breaking news was alerted to us on Backstage on Fox Sports 1 that Randy Orton and Edge will be starting the Royal Rumble, number one and two. So, I mean, fellas, we got legends here. And we're going to start it off with Tampa Tones, and I'll go around. Edge and Randy Orton, I mean, you can't get much better than that for two guys starting the show.
Yeah, that's a pretty good matchup to start the show, and I think they're also doing that because last time we've seen Edge wrestling, obviously he was in a rivalry with Randy Orton, and now he's in another storyline, Randy Orton that is. So maybe they're doing this to kind of maybe close loose ends with that Edge Orton storyline without trying to overlap two storylines at once, or it's a continuance of that storyline, and maybe Randy will get back to his other storyline down the road, or maybe all three will tie in together. Who the hell knows? But what's really more interesting, in my opinion, is who's coming behind door number three. There's been a lot of inactive wrestlers who aren't on the injured roster. Technically, we have Seth Rollins, Alistair Black, Lars Sullivan, Andrade, Mickey James, Lana, Eric, Tucker, Mojo Rawley. All these guys and girls have wrestled, and they're not injury designated heading into tonight. We could be in for some surprises.
Oh, absolutely. And we're referring some surprises, and we're going to get to that in a bit of who we think will actually be there. And before I get over to Alex, because we have to bring in Yowie Wowie into this segment. It's no Randy Orton without talking about the Fiend. But it was funny. I was, speaking of Edge and Orton 1 or 2, and Tone saying the importance of number three. Back in, I believe it was 2009 or 2010, the first two members were Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, and number three was Santino Marella. So, I mean, just imagine coming out as number three to one of those guys. I mean, we're talking about two Hall of Famers. We're talking about your, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. That's the level of guys we're talking about starting this Rumble. And Alex, we all know the Fiend. We all know he's not dead. We know he got lit and on fire way back when and all that pyroglyphic stuff that's going on. But do you think he's showing up tonight? And is this the opportunity right here for him to get a little payback at Randy Orton?
I don't necessarily know that he's going to show up in person, but I think the lights might flicker, kind of putting in the back of Randy's mind to say like the Fiend is still around, the Fiend is still here, possibly setting up a match for WrestleMania, unless they want to go that route of him and Edge going forward for WrestleMania and thereon. But I would love to see the Fiend, and I need to see him even more powerful than he was before. Would he be number three? I don't really know if that happened to be the case. I think number three, if I had to really honestly pick, it's going to probably either be Cesaro or Daniel Bryan, just to kind of mix it up a little bit.
That'll be interesting.
See, and I hope that's the direction they go in, Alex. But to me, I see them maybe perhaps putting in a flopper at number three, someone
comedy.
lower. Yeah, comedy, one of those Gilbert guys, or Hornswoggle out from under the ring.
So you're talking maybe like R-Truth with a 24/7 title just might.
Yeah, you'll definitely see R-Truth.
I think that would be. Hey, that's a good storyline if R-Truth were to come out and they had like for everyone not in the Rumble. They had like a 24/7 match during the Rumble somehow. I think that would be great. That's a good point.
So, and guys, once again, we got a couple of more guests joining us shortly here in about 20 minutes. Developmental wrestler Ryu Kendrick. We are going to get his thoughts and inspiration. Actually, a little more for you. The guy had a match last night, and we want to talk about it. So he's getting ready. He's, a busy guy. He's trying to, do his real life job and do wrestling at the same time. So we're going to get him in about 10, 15 minutes for a live interview. But that being said, Cleveland, but before we bring Billy in, they just talked about, how important, the number three spot is, where the Fiend will fit in. When you hear Randy Orton and Edge getting in at the same time, what do you think is going to happen with that?
It's funny. I was literally just watching the 2010 Royal Rumble literally like 2 days ago, and it was when Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker started off, and they did send out Santino. So I think what Tone said made a good point. It would be nice to see a credible wrestler like Cesaro or even Shinsuke or Daniel Bryan come at 3, but we might see somebody like Tucker or I don't know, another comedy act that's just going to get tossed out of the ring. I can see Edge and Randy Orton going 30 minutes in the Rumble. I think Edge is a low-key sleeper to win it now. After we've been reports that he will face Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, and it seems hopefully McIntyre keeps the title. I can see the Fiend causing Randy Orton to get eliminated, like Alex mentioned. Lights flicker or something, catch Randy Orton off guard, or Alexa Bliss makes an appearance and somebody chucks Randy Orton over. But yeah, I think Edge and Randy will go 30 minutes each, but I think Edge will win, in my opinion now. Switch it up.
I mean, there's just so much to talk about. We only hit the surfaces here, guys, with the men's rumble. And, you know, as always, I say it on the podcast, a lot to talk about, not a lot of time. So we want to keep chugging away. And longtime neighbor, hockey coach of our team here is finally on. I see the Kofi Mania shirt. Billy Granato from
Billy.
Next
What's going on,
podcast.
fellas?
How
up,
we
Bill?
doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm excited. This is my favorite pay-per-view of the year, so
Oh,
I'm ready to
yeah.
get started.
What up, buddy?
What's going on?
Even Tones, who I know hasn't, you know, he's been so busy with the Buccaneers, obviously, and everything going on there. He has all wrestling gear on today. He came down pumped up. Everybody should be hyped for this. This is the first Sunday without football. Get your heads out of your asses and watch some Royal Rumble because it's going to be unreal tonight. It starts at 5 Central Time and we'll take you all the way to the 9 o'clock hour. So tune in. And the people that are tuning in now, we thank you so much because without you, this wouldn't be possible. So again, about 15 minutes away from Rio Kendrick. But Billy, I want your initial thoughts. When you hear Royal Rumble, is it a moment? Is it the countdown? Is it a surprise? What is it for you that gets you hyped for today?
I want to say surprise because, you know, those are always fun, but it's the start of WrestleMania season and that storyline that builds from now, maybe even last week until, you know, you hit mid-April for WrestleMania. That's going to carry you through these dog months of the winter, and it's going to get you through the weeks. So I think it's just the building of a storyline that gets me excited.
And for all of you that don't know, me, my brother, and actually Billy, back in 2018, we did attend the WrestleMania in New York. And with the news coming that Super Bowl is having fans and then Mania about 25,000 a day, 2019, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. You know, all sorts of thoughts going in my head this morning. But we plan on going this year. We're not letting the limited capacity stop us. Me and my brother and a few other guys are thinking about going. So, you know, it's just, man, we're 3 months away from that moment. It all starts tonight. And we haven't brought up the ladies yet and how rude of us here being a bunch of dudes. I need to bring up
some ladies. We mentioned ladies. We mentioned returns possible of ladies.
Possible, but we got to really get into it now. And we got to talk about, you know, not only surprises, but we got to just talk about. Oh, we love our ladies. Hey, maybe Lana gets something tonight because God knows she's having more success than
maybe Charlotte wins it again.
Hopefully, she doesn't take away from my girl Bianca Belair, which is my prediction for the Women's Rumble. But, you know, I want to start this off, Billy, since you were the last to join. I want you first on the segment, and we'll work our way around. As Tones waves his hand at me because I'm sure he has a different thought, which if you know the Areola brothers is not shocking. We never think similar. Billy, start with you. If it's not Bianca, who you got tonight is your potential winner?
I want to say it's between a surprise, either Becky Lynch or Ronda Rousey makes their return. I think both of those would be a sweet return and very entertaining to watch. As long as Natalya does not win it at the 30 spot, I am happy.
And, you know, that's a little more news. I'm glad Billy said that before we get to Cleveland and move on to Tampa Tones and Alex and swing our way around here. It was also said last night on Backstage that Natalya is getting the number 30 role. I think we can all agree we hope she probably doesn't win it. Good for her. It's a nice, you know, being the number 30 entrant. People have won it there before, and obviously you're the most fresh. So give kudos where it's due. Sorry, Tamina. Cleveland, who you going with? A surprise, Natalya?
I like Bianca Belair, to be honest, but I think, I don't know, the women's division just hasn't been the strongest the last few months. Don't need to sugarcoat. Don't need to sugarcoat it, Joe. I mean, we see how some of these matches are. If you want to be safe, you could just let Charlotte Flair win it again. You know, the fans that hate it, but you know she'll put on a phenomenal match. I like the possibility of Becky Lynch coming back. She never really lost the title. I don't see Ronda coming back. The 30 spot Natalia is such a joke. They should have just surprised us with something better than Tamina or Natalia for the 30th spot. So I like Bianca, but if Charlotte's in it, I'm not betting against the Queen.
And Tones, you brought up a lot of names already that could be coming back, but in terms of your winner, you shook off at Bianca, and you haven't seemed too pleased with the choices given. What do you got for us?
Well, I'm going to go with an interesting take here. I think that it would provide some interesting storylines if Alexa Bliss were to come out the champion of the Ladies Royal Rumble. She's doing some interesting things with The Fiend right now. I think that could provide beneficial storylines and provide some very good match qualities at WrestleMania to see there. So that's interesting. And then tonight, I think we're going to see some interesting things in the men's rumble. I don't think he's going to win it, but I think we could see Kevin Nash returning tonight because I did hear WrestleMania is rumored to have a lot of old stars. So going with that theory, I think Edge wins the men's rumble tonight. I heard a lot of veterans are coming back for WrestleMania, so why not pick Edge? I know Daniel Bryan's a favorite in gambling land, but I'm going with Edge and Alexa Bliss if I had to choose.
And I love the Edge prediction because that is mine as well. And Alex, I'm going to bring you in a second here with your women's pick. And you know what? Screw it. Might as well give us another thought on the men's as well. But, last year when Edge came back after 10 years of being away and you hear, you think you know me, din, 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 din. There's so many videos on YouTube all over the place of literally people crying, invested fans who are elder now, above the age of 40, that when they saw him, they just had, because they know what he went through, the surgeries. There's other people that I could give shout outs to as well that have gone through the same things. But this man literally thought he had no chance of coming back. And 10 years later, one of the greatest characters, not just a heel and not just a face, one of the greatest characters to ever represent the WWE came back, and he's again in it again. And as my brother, we do agree on this one. I think Edge is going to take it as well. Alex, though, I want to keep on the woman. What do you got for us in a prediction?
So I definitely do like Bianca Belair, but I'm gonna ride with Rhea Ripley. Something in me just says I gotta ride with Rhea. She's had kind of a tumultuous 2020 after her loss to Charlotte Flair, so I think she needs some type of redemption, and she's kind of scuffling as far as I'm concerned in NXT. So Rhea Ripley for the women, she's a monster. She kind of deserves that push as far as I'm concerned. If I jump onto the men's side, I like Daniel Bryan, but I gotta ride with Cesaro. Push Cesaro. Push him, please.
I like that. I like it.
Cesaro.
He's so undeserving, and I'm glad Daniel Bryan let him beat him the other week and finally get over, which Daniel Bryan actually likes to do a lot, because he is one of the talents that he should not be in a tag team with Shinsuke, even with the belts. I think we can all agree on that. Let him get in a singles run. Sheamus had his time. Shinsuke had his time. Kevin Owens had his. Let Cesaro get that big run as a heel. I think he would do a pretty good job there. And I know nobody's going to beat Roman Reigns anytime soon, but we'll see what.
Let's remember how good Cesaro was with Paul Heyman back in the day, too, as a Heyman guy. He had a very good storyline there before getting yanked out of that thing. So let's hope, he gets a push.
Really quickly, and I don't mean to cut you off, Joey.
No, you're fine.
Just also in the back of my mind, too, we're getting fans at WrestleMania. So in my mind, if they're not going to have The Rock for Roman, I would love to see Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns. And where does Paul Heyman fit in that? That's kind of my thought. I don't know if it'll happen. I don't know if he signed that contract. I don't know if they're trying to keep it under wraps, or I don't know if he's gone for good. But Brock Lesnar is another sleeper as far as I'm concerned, too. Yeah. I think he's got to be considered if he's anywhere near WWE.
I mean, and I love Paul Heyman get brought up because I miss the reigning, defending, undisputed Brock Lesnar. I miss that. I miss the energy. He's kind of quiet right now in the background.
Yeah.
But real quick, a couple of shout outs. One to the Time Skew Network. We're a proud representation from them. You can find our podcast and many others at TSPN underscore on Twitter. Find them on their website. They have great fantasy football news, and they bring the heat at Time Skew Pod as well to find their latest and greatest, with Tampa Tones being a part of that, doing the Lively Week show. Don't forget that it is a good show for fantasy. And then the off season, they do it as well. So we couldn't be doing it where we are without them. And also the fans. I know I got a lot of my Naperville boys watching us from afar in different states, and Alex's brother Christian is joining us, and I got buddies all over. It's awesome. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, boys. Thank you, Grant Delay, and especially Christian and all the guys tuning in. So this show is not without the fans. So I know there's a lot of wrestling fans watching, but we got some people who don't know shit about wrestling, but that's okay because you see five lovely faces. And within the next 5 to 10 minutes, again, Ryu Kendricks is on. He is hurrying up now. He's getting some shit done, and he is going to be with us. But guys, before we do that, we talked about surprise. We're all waiting. Are we going to get Brock Lesnar? Are we going to get John Cena? Are we going to get CM Punk? Are we going to get Becky Lynch? Are we going to get Ronda Rousey? The list goes on, from guys who won't probably show up to a guy like The Rock, to guys that, or ladies that probably will show up in a lot of people's opinions, like a Ronda Rousey. I just want to go around the room. We're going to go reverse order this time. Alex, start with you. Give us a name that if you said, I'm putting my $100 bill right here on this person who hasn't been here in a while, will show up tonight on either side of the card.
This is a pretty simple one because he's just been off of TV for a little bit with Becky Lynch. Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins is definitely coming back tonight. I don't know if he's going to get that push. I don't really know if he's going to continue on with that whole Messiah theme that he was doing. I would rather him, go back to the burn it down Seth Rollins, but I think Seth's definitely coming back tonight.
And that's, if I had to put $100 bet, I think the bet is safe there. He didn't have to carry the baby. He didn't have to go through all the aches and pains. So to me, he has a better shot than Becky, even though I don't think both. Tampa Tones, over to you. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I've been hearing a couple rumors, including perhaps, as I mentioned earlier, maybe a Kevin Nash. I've heard Samoa Joe rumblings, maybe. And I've also heard Eva Marie perhaps returning tonight as well. So couple returns. I think Seth Rollins, as Alex mentioned, is probably a safe bet if you're a safe gambler. But my under the radar one is Samoa Joe. I'm going with. I think he might make an appearance, but I'd bet money too. I think we'll see Hornswoggle. It's been a couple of years, and he's one of those guys that appears in one every 3 or 4 Rumbles. It's been too damn long without Hornswoggle. If I have my money, I'm betting on Hornswoggle.
And I love it. We are all over the place with this, and they're all possible, and it's all real. And that's the best time in this part of the year, because last year, you got Hurricane, you got a couple of guys. You just always get even that. I hope Carlito shows up this year personally. Am I putting my $100 bill on that? No, I'm not. But I'm just talking about these names that you kind of lose in the shuffle. And Cleve, we've brought up a few names now, and we've talked about it on the podcast, which again, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Cleve and Me. Check us out if you haven't already, along with great podcasts like the Bucketeers, Cardboard and Cracker Jacks, and Row 7 Podcast. But getting back to it, Cleveland, give us a surprise. Where's your $100 bill going? Because I know you're a betting man these days.
I would love to see Trish Stratus come back. She was my favorite women's wrestling growing up. She's arguably one of the greatest women wrestlers. You can argue her and Charlotte, but man, I would love to hear that the Stratus faction to hit the Bulldog, and Trish Stratus is like fine wine. She aged very beautifully. So I would throw my $100 on seeing Trish Stratus tonight.
And I would, not only do I want to obviously see her come back, she's a beautiful mother of a great family. So God bless her soul. She's beautiful. Billy, let's keep to it though. Who do you got?
I like Tones' pick with Samoa Joe, but he's been involved with NXT. I'm gonna go with Wade Barrett.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
He got hired by the company. Might as well give him a spot in the Rumble. You know what he can do.
And obviously, there's so many storylines that people remember, whether it be the Nexus, whether it be his one-on-one battles with John Cena or others. He can easily twist back into a little bit of a storyline here. And Speaking of a heel and Wade Barrett, who did such a great job for years and had a rivalry with John Cena, I kind of hope here, JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, hopefully gets off his. We've seen the announcers all do it. We've seen the Michael Cole come in the ring and how embarrassing that guy can be, or we've seen the King come in for a little bit. We've
JBL,
seen
we've seen.
yeah, Booker T, we've seen. I mean, there's been a lot of people just from the announcing side of things that come into play. And, speaking of Samoa Joe, I could see him sitting there and be like, I'm tired of watching this and just get up and put his way in. And what better to hear than Joe, Joe, Joe. So, I mean, there's a lot coming at you. And, fellas, we love this. This is going great so far. We are ready. It is time to bring in our last guest of the night. He had a
Oh
match
yeah.
yesterday. He was in a battle royal. Developmental wrestler Ryu Kendrick coming in live in just a second here. But before I do that, I wanted to say you can find all of us on Twitter. You can find all of our podcasts at TSPN_ there. And you can find at timeskew.com. Go on there. You go in there, section of all our shows. Everyone will be listed. So please, not only on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, it can be in other places. But without further ado, as I keep rumbling and stumbling with my words here, Ryu Kendrick from down in the St. Louis area. How we doing today? It's Royal Rumble season.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Ryu, what's
up,
up,
man?
player?
We
Getting
got to
right
ask
on.
you first and foremost, Ryu. Tell us about last night.
And last night was pretty fun. It was my first ever first match in 2021. I was in a battle royal, actually. It was for the promotion's heavyweight title. And I just had fun. I was the final five. I was in the final five, and then I got eliminated. And then one of the guys it was a tie between Kyle King, I believe, Justin Kyle and Camaro Jackson.
And you know what, man, we're so proud of you, obviously. And Tones, I'm going to let you chime in here in a second, but we really just want to say we're proud of you. We want you to keep it going because hopefully in 10 to 20 years, we're sitting in these seats saying your name in the Royal Rumble. But Tones, what did you have to add on there?
I just wanted to say it sounds like you're the superior competition. I didn't hear too many other good names in that one besides Ryu Kendrick. Heel Kamara, watched his film, not too impressive there to be honest. But Ryu Kendrick, really good. Check out Ryu Kendrick's film, incredible, tremendous. That's all I had to add. Ryu, we're proud of you. They screwed you by putting you fifth below those lower tier guys, but we got a lot of faith. And keep working your way up. You're doing great, buddy.
All right.
And for the people that don't know, before we ask for you a few more questions here and get more opinion, we all come from the same place for the most part, all in the Chicagoland area. But realistically, we all went to a few of us went to Eastern Illinois University. Me, my brother, and Ryu. Then Billy, longtime neighbor. Cleve, obviously, how can we forget the LeBron James fan? We already know that from the podcast. We don't need to go there too much. And then Alex, his brother, went to school with us and just lives down the road pretty much in a drive away. So it is just great to get familiar faces together on this great day and event we have here. And Cleveland, I want to bring you in as the co-host because as I keep, just going and going, I want to bring you and let you ask Ryu a question yourself.
First, I want to say I'm very proud of Ryu. I remember when you first started it. I remember you told us a few years ago and that you were really going to get into it. You lost a lot of weight, man. I will say that. I applaud that. You got in excellent shape. You're a big man that can move around. It's very rare to see big man like that in the wrestling business that can move around kind of in the ring. Like Tampa Tones mentioned, you are better than some of those guys, especially that guy, Mike Outlaw. No shade thrown on the guy, but he couldn't wipe Big C's gym strike.
Okay, but no, all right, let me say this. Mike Outlaw he's a veteran for good 6-7 years.
We're all a veteran for staring at lights every night. But my question for Big Dog is
you're gonna be hating on him.
My question is,
you just better hope he doesn't watch this podcast.
Oh, we might get a match lined up on the inside of Cleve and Me. Ask your question.
I love it. The question is, what's next after this one? It seems like you've been progressing really good. You had your first match in a while. Seems like you did really good. So what's the next goal after this? I'm actually want to go to one of your shows. I told you next time if you're ever close by and I get a chance, I will stop by and check your show out. I'll leave after your match is over, but I'll come to see the man Ryu. So yeah, what's the next move after this? What's the next stop?
The next stop is definitely just focusing on just getting better in the gym, getting better in the ring. Hopefully, just get myself and just into getting the better matches, getting more matches in 2021, even with the pandemic. And most definitely just be ready to kick ass and just be ready to take names. And you already know the deal.
And Ryu, I want to talk about that a little bit because we cannot underestimate enough. Not only has the coronavirus impacted a lot of people's livelihoods and jobs, but for wrestlers especially, we saw WWE go through a period of no fans, AEW the same, and we've seen kind of how they've been able to build presentation for us and having a good end of 2020 and leading into 2021. How has coronavirus slowed you down, if at all? If I know Ryu Kendrick from my days of not only being a longtime friend of his, is it won't let him stop the training and the hard grind to get where he needs to be in the long run. Am I correct?
Most definitely. It was just definitely like just the coronavirus. You just got to be careful, be safe, take precautions, wear a mask. It's that you got to follow those rules. And as long as you follow the rules, do what you're supposed to do, and you just got to do it, then you're golden.
And you know what? We always love talking about not only on the bad side of things with the virus, we want to move on to good things like, heavyweight battles between two rivals and a little low key rival of Ryu Kendricks is Billy Granado, a longtime neighbor who joins us. Billy, you have any questions or comments for Ryu? As you and him never seem to keep eye to eye.
I know. I love Ryu. We have a love-hate relationship. He gives it and takes it like a champ. I just have a question for him. So with it being coronavirus, how does it work with like testing? Do you guys have to get tested before you have a match? What are the protocols along that lines?
Yeah, you would have to try to get tested. I mean, it's not exactly mandatory, but if you know you have COVID, you definitely would want to stay. You wouldn't want to give it to anyone else for sure. If you know you have it, then obviously don't show up. But yeah, we take tests for our precautions, for our safety, and as well as we wear masks in the back. In the gym, in the locker room, we always wear masks to keep ourselves safe and social distance. So most definitely, it's the promoters are taking this real seriously in the indies, as well as just like AEW and WWE with their precautions and their procedures with COVID-19.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we're proud of your success now. I love to see you work hard.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, Ryu Kendrick is a part of the future. So just as all the other promotions, I'm glad they're keeping you safe and doing the right thing. And Alex, I want to let you chime in with a final thought or question for Ryu, and then we will let him get on his way as we thank him for giving us his time and get a final thought. What do you got?
Yeah, man. What's the outlook for you guys in your promotion? Are you guys going to start performing in front of people when the weather gets nicer? Maybe do some shows outside. That way you can kind of space people out, or has that not really been discussed yet?
Well, in the indies, there are some promotions where they do shows where it's like limited seating, masks are required to be in there, social distance, and then there are some outside shows where they do be outside and we also perform out there. I did some shows outdoors, and as well as last night, the show was at a gym and it was only limited seating.
And Ryu, we're talking about these matches. You were in one last night. We watched you live on YouTube a few months back. And I guess I want to say, for the people who don't know you, for the people who don't appreciate Ryu Kendrick yet, give us a little bit about yourself, your personality? What more heel, more face? Are you talking about, snapping necks and banking checks? What's your motto? What's your goal? And let the people know who you are.
All right, here's who I am. Ashley, my character as of right now is a baby face. He's a face, and he's just keeping it real, just like just keeping it OG, just straight from the streets, just trying to do what it takes to get a check and do what it takes to get his name out there. And
And,
his character is more like a saying, so it's like a saying. You just like have that spirit.
and to give us a little more detail on that saying part.
I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, and it just stuck up to me, and then it's just like got to my character saying, like, it's not like, hey, I'm Goku or hey, I'm Vegeta. It's just like, hey, you're just a a generic, like a modern day Saiyan that's living on Earth that wants to wrestle.
Yeah, if I could ask him one question quick, Ryu, I kind of just gave you a compliment the first time. Now I'd like to pick your brain a little bit.
Okay.
Piggybacking off your Super Saiyan Dragon Ball Z, I think it's great. When you step into that ring, how hard is it to go from Myron Chapman, the person, into the Super Saiyan Ryu Kendrick? Because let's be honest, you're in there, it's a whole different ball game. It's pretty much acting. How hard is that? How difficult is that? Your tights were beautiful, by the way, yesterday. I think it's a great look, and I
Thank
think
you.
the shirt was really good too.
Thank you. So pretty much is when you're getting into that mode and when you're getting into character, and when you're getting into character and going out there to wrestle, it's just like you gotta turn on, you gotta focus, you gotta like get yourself in the zone. And then when you go out there and perform in front of the fans, it's just a whole, like you said, Tones, a whole new ball game, man.
Yeah, and to follow up, do you have any more matches planned? And if so, where may they reside? Are they in a parking lot? Are they in a gym? What's it looking like?
It's definitely in a. If it was going to be something like that, it would definitely be in a gym. But I'm just taking my time, just training and just trying to bust my ass and just try to get bookings and get myself out there.
Yeah, enjoy the Rumble, big guy.
Thank you, thank you.
And you know what? It is the Royal Rumble. We started the show talking hot and heavy about it, and we're going to do that once we let you go again. But Ryu, if you heard your name, if you were told, hey, listen, you're in the Rumble this year, you're at spot 17, you're coming in, how do you mentally prepare for a Royal Rumble versus a one-on-one match? I don't think people understand the dynamics of, a one-on-one, you're just strictly worried about one person. 2-on-2, you have a team to go against. This is you versus the world. This isn't just a fight just to get on top of the mountain. This is a fight to get you to the elite level to get one of those championships. Where would the preparation change for you versus a one-on-one?
The preparation is definitely like your focus is like I said last night. I was in a battle royal, and then you got like many people coming at you at one time. You just gotta find the person that you're just find the closest person to you that you see a threat in, and you just go after that person. You gotta remember you gotta have eyes in the back of your head as well because other people are gonna want to go after you.
Mhm.
And I know you would be on top of that. And I know, you're in the business. You can't really give us predictions, but once again, I want to give people tell them where they could find you at and let us, leave us with something. Give us something for today's great Royal Rumble show.
All right. Well, first off, you want to know my social media. It's my Twitter is at Ryu Kendrick. My Instagram is at Who is Ryu Kendrick. And you can also add me on Facebook is at Ryu Kendrick is on Facebook as well. You can add me on there as a friend. And for Royal Rumble, I was watching a show and it's gonna be lit, definitely. I feel like Rob and RVD may come back.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah.
I like that
RVD.
actually.
Yeah, RVD.
One of a kind.
And for the women, that's pretty rough. I feel Mickey James may come back.
And just as many others, she's always in and out of things. And those are, there's so many ways you can go with this. And Ryu, once again, we want to thank you for your time. And it was great speaking with you on this Royal Rumble day. Not only am I speaking for the rest of us, when I could say, we know you're going to get there. We wish you the best of luck. And hopefully, like I said, in the next 5, 10, 15 years, we're talking about you in this Royal Rumble match. Thank you once again.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ryu.
Man.
Thanks,
And
Ryu.
And that was Ryu, guys. And man, just to get somebody's perspective who's actually in the ring instead of a bunch of guys who try to be like me and just ruin shit in my basement, or the rest of y'all who I've never been in a ring either. It's just, we're just doing our best, but it's awesome to get that perspective. But guys, we had a couple of segments left. We've hit on the men's rumble and the women's rumble a lot, but I want to talk about a few of these matches we have and then end with Super Bowl scores. If you don't want to give them because you're giving them on another show, just give us a preview of what you could kind of see in the game. But we're going to start with the matches first here because we are a wrestling show, of course. And that is this Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, last man standing. if people do not remember, last year we actually got Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin in a last man standing at Astros Field, which ended up being a great match. It wasn't a title match. And, this brings more spice because of how good Kevin Owens can be with those type of matches. But I'm not really going to sit here and ask the question of, or you know what, I will. I mean, does anybody, this is free for all, anybody have Kevin Owens coming out of here with that title tonight, or is there just no chance in hell?
I'd say there's a chance, but WWE likes to screw their best and let Roman Reigns reign supreme over everything. So we'll see what happens. Kevin Owens definitely deserves it more than Roman does, and we'll see if they allow him to.
I gotta disagree with
Here we
I gotta
go.
disagree with Tones at that. Roman is literally, I mentioned this a few times on the podcast. Roman and Drew McIntyre are their cornerstone franchise players. Kevin Owens is a great wrestler. He's a great wrestler. But I don't think he can carry a company like Roman Reigns can. And then the
That's
heel
only because they
turn,
haven't given him the chance.
I think he has got a chance. He was a heel and he's been a face. Think about this, right? Roman has never been a heel like he is now, and the crowd loves it. We have seen Kevin Owens as a heel and a face multiple times, and
Roman was a heel before.
yeah, but that was when people hated Roman, though. People
Okay,
it
he
changed
failed
a
at
little.
being a heel.
It changed. To me, I don't like Kevin Owens. He's a great wrestler, but I think Roman will put more ass in the seats than Kevin Owens will.
Roman's a force-fed experiment for the WWE, and they don't want to give up their dream and hopes of him being their guy. Not saying he's bad, but he's being force-fed to the fans, and it's terrible what Vince is doing.
So you think Kevin Owens, if you were owner of WWE and you looked at Roman and Kevin Owens, you would honestly look at Owens as a franchise player, a person
He's a better wrestler.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing about wrestling, though. It's more about wrestling. It's about promos. It's about
he's better at promos.
A little bit. I mean, Roman has got better.
2 for 2 in the big promos.
Roman
wrestling. You just said KO's better. That's all I'm saying.
Roman presence alone is just like, this heel turn has just made Roman a better person. We can't talk about shit from 3 years ago. We all can admit, Roman couldn't cut a promo to save his life. His moves were goofy, the stupid bulletproof vest, whatever he used to wear the damn ring. But ever since he came back with this heel turn, it's more confidence. In all honesty, Roman Reigns had a better storyline than Kevin Owens will probably ever have in his time in the WWE. I'm not knocking Kevin Owens, but I don't think he's a world's champion type of guy. That's just my opinion. He's a middle card.
He doesn't get to determine that. Sadly, the top does. I mean,
no, that's very true. Yeah.
Well, and let me step in and say this about both guys, because I'm going to bring Billy and Alex's opinions in here on this, and then we're going to move on to the next one. But I always liked Roman Reigns because he was kind of like the guy that was pushed after trying John Cena, and I never really gave Kevin Owens credit. And now Kevin Owens is one of my favorite in the business. I think that guy puts his body through hell in the ring, and I think he does a great job of. If you watch Friday Night SmackDown, that promo he cut where Roman shut the TV off, and he was like, "For my family," and all. You buy into that. You buy into it. He doesn't look like, your Kenny Omegas, your Roman Reigns. He doesn't have the body type. He's straight from here, and he gives it 150%, not just 100%. He truly throws it all out there. And it is a good debate because you've had guys obviously get more chances with Vince McMahon's puppet being Roman Reigns going off of John Cena. But then Kevin Owens has made his own name working himself in and out of roles. And Billy, I guess, does KO have any chance? And who do you kind of see being a little more right in this, Cleveland or Tones?
Okay, so I got the craziest opinion on this. So it's a last man standing, no disqualification. Jey Uso's going to be involved. Roman keeps hyping himself as the head of the table. I think we all know who's the head of the table of that family. The Rock. Kevin Owens is going to befriend The Rock, and The Rock is going to come lay the smack down on Roman Reigns. Wow. That's going to start a rivalry. Kevin Owens is going to win the belt. The Rock and Roman Reigns will feud at WrestleMania.
And I mean, I think we could all agree there that we would see that in here. Finally, The Rock is home. But Alex, I want to get your input on this too. Because wow, I mean, I'm just shaking now. If we hear The Rock, I kind of tossed him aside due to scheduling and because they always, Vince McMahon, he wants his biggest pops at the biggest times. But we better get something like that tonight if we don't get another surprise in a Brock Lesnar or CM Punk or John Cena along those lines. I would love The Rock. I think we all would. Alex, KO, any shot, or is it just zilch, none, zero?
As much as I want to give KO a chance because Tones makes some extremely valid points, I think he's a better wrestler, a better promo as well too. I mean, they're not taking the belt off of Roman for now. He's probably going to keep the belt to at least SummerSlam, and at that point, hopefully, you'll have people in the seats, maybe an entire stadium. Could be against like a Brock, could be against The Rock. But as far as for right now, tonight with no fans, Roman Reigns is walking out with that title, and with the help of the Usos. I think Jimmy and Jay are both going to be involved tonight. That they're going to start bringing the whole entire family, which could, you might see the Rock eventually come back into play with this. But I think Jimmy and Jay are going to play a big role in a Roman's title reign tonight.
Yeah, and we always talk about obviously Roman's getting all this help. I wouldn't mind Sami Zayn trying to help out KO or something again as he just ties himself to the ring and pretends he's homeless. Let's make him useful. Let's have him break an Uso's neck or something, get involved in the business. Because, I mean, KO and Sami Zayn, they kind of always follow each other as they started NXT at the same point, kind of built their way up and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of possibilities that we can go here. And I wouldn't do it justice if we didn't talk about the other title, the WWE title. And Alex, I'm starting with you this time. I'm going to be in the minority in here as a huge Goldberg fan. We all know the over the hill aspect of things. But that being said, it's a name. He's a legend. He brings pop to the average fan. I'm not going to ask really more of your opinion on it, but this is more of a toss-up in terms of what Vince McMahon likes to do. We've seen The Fiend get thrown to the ground by Goldberg in a wasted opportunity. We've seen Goldberg waste Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho's great title run to Mania in 2016. Are we going to see Vince McMahon pull it out of his ass again and just give Goldberg the title?
So if Goldberg wins tonight, The Miz will cash in, guaranteed. That's kind of how I see it. I don't see how you can give Goldberg or Oldberg, as some might want to call him, a belt going into WrestleMania. I don't want to see it. I'm not really. I was a Goldberg fan, but right now he's too much of a liability in the ring. Not about it. So either Drew's walking out clean, or if Goldberg wins, Miz is cash ins on Goldberg, and that's kind of
Oldberg. I love Oldberg.
That is so disrespectful.
Oh.
Tampa Tones, I'm going to bring you in here instead of Cleveland because of that just disrespect.
Over under on 3.5 moves all match between Drew and Goldberg. It's gonna be
under.
It's gonna be they're gonna open up with the grapple. One's gonna push the other. Then Goldberg's gonna run with a spear, miss him, Claymore kick, spear, Claymore kick. Maybe a failed jackhammer attempt as Goldberg nearly gives McIntyre a concussion, crashing down the canvas. But nonetheless, I respect both Goldberg and McIntyre. McIntyre's a better wrestler at the moment. Obviously, Goldberg's career will be a lot better when it's all said and done. But two great guys, two very high-profile guys. But I agree with Alex. If Goldberg does win, I think The Miz will cash in. And, something's going to happen to Goldberg after the match. Maybe he might get jumped. John Morrison might do something to Goldberg, and The Miz puts it over the top. I think Drew McIntyre will win, but you never know. Goldberg, he comes back for money. He doesn't come back to lose matches. He might win this one, and we might see The Miz walking out of here with championship. But you never know with crazy-eyed Vince. Wouldn't shock me if Goldberg wins and honestly carries a title into WrestleMania.
And one thing we can all agree on before Billy and Cleveland give their thought on this is Vince McMahon is a nut. And honestly, last year's Royal Rumble, before 30 minutes before the show started, it was supposed to be Rhea Ripley and Roman Reigns as the two winners. And then he switched at the last minute to Charlotte Flair and Drew McIntyre. Now, I think he did right in the one regard of giving it to McIntyre because kudos to McIntyre once again, taking us through COVID. I think there's very few stars, Bayley, Sasha, Drew, Kenny Omega, John Moxley. There's been few stars that have been really keeping things going through COVID, and Roman Reigns especially, and those are just some of them. But he could change easily again. And I guess, Billy, since they both brought up the cash-in, do you see the cash-in happening tonight, or is that going to wait a little bit?
I can see Miz botching the cash in. I I don't know. I'm a little tired of Drew McIntyre. I said that on your podcast a few months ago, and I'm sick of seeing Goldberg come out here once a year and almost kill somebody. So uh, I don't know. I can see Miz winning the title and then losing it real quick right before Mania. I, I don't even know what they're doing with this the storyline, but I am impressed with Goldberg. I watched WWE's The Bump today. He was interviewed on it, and he was talking about how he's changed his complete training regimen to not trying to get stronger, but just trying to get more agile, trying to get more durable. Which I respect that. That way, he's not hurting guys. He doesn't need to be stronger. He needs to be more able to do these moves that he's trying to do, and I think that's important. So respect there, but I don't want to see any of these three guys with the title.
Well, and in Cleveland, I'm going to get your final thought on that again, and then I'm going to spin you another question. But me and Tones were watching The Last Ride yesterday, actually, and the Undertaker, the preparation you have to go through, and Undertaker admitted after his one of his matches where he just fell short again in the 2017 WrestleMania against Roman, and he felt bad because his agility wasn't there. Well, what did he do? He busted his ass in the gym, and that fight against Cena where he was actually looked really good. They cut it short because they were scared to have him keep going, but he said he could have gone a lot longer. So it is about that preparation. And let's face it, if Vince McMahon is going to throw a check in front of your face that has 6 zeros on it, these guys are not going to turn it down. Goldberg even said it himself. He goes, look, I know people, give me shit, but look, I carried the company for X many years. I had one of the greatest streaks in the history of the business. He does deserve his kudos. Now, where I disagree with him is, yeah, well, you still got to stay sharp. You still got to get your shit done, and you can't be, ruining these. If you're going to go out there with a young guy, fine, but make it look like a heavyweight battle. We don't want to see Goldberg versus Undertaker like we did in Saudi Arabia, where Undertaker was literally a second away from having a long-term serious injury because they both botched a move. So it's hard back and forth here. But Cleveland, Goldberg, McIntyre, we've talked about them both plenty of times on the podcast. I know you don't want to see Goldberg win. Do you see Goldberg winning and the Miz cashing in, or do you have a different thought?
I'm gonna go Oldberg because I love how Alex just dropped that, so I love Oldberg.
Don't get that starting trending now. We don't need that.
Personally, I don't want to see Goldberg win. No one in their right mind wants to see Goldberg win. I agree with Tones. We'll probably see less than 3 moves. We'll probably see a headbutt from Drew McIntyre, the Claymore, and the little chops and stuff. And then Goldberg will do a suplex. That's what the jackhammer is now. It's a fucking suplex. He'll do a spear, about 2 spears, and that'll be the end of the match. Hopefully the Miz cashes in on him. I would hate for the Miz opportunity to be wasted on something like this because this is a ridiculous match in and of itself. No one wants to see Goldberg last year against Roman Reigns. No one wants to see Goldberg this year. But this is where we are. I think if WWE lets Goldberg win and Miz tries to cash in and he beat the Miz, I don't know how I feel about paying my $10 anymore, man. I might just wait it out until WrestleMania because I was close to canceling with the Fiend. And I like Drew McIntyre, so I hope Goldberg don't win. But if he do, Miz cash in. Also, Goldberg was let's be realistic too. Goldberg was never the best wrestler in WCW. He was a main attraction. He was like when Kane first came around. If anybody remember in the 90s, Kane was just this mystique wrestler. Nobody could really beat him, but he wasn't the best wrestler on the roster. He was just had a different character than anybody else. So to say Goldberg, for him to say he carried a company, he never carried a company any time in his wrestling career. Even when he's on the Raw, he still played second fiddle to Triple H. So no knock on Goldberg. He was a good guy when he was a young man. He's a mysterious character. No one could beat him. But to say he carried a company is complete nonsense. Sorry about the rant.
No, hey, Cleveland's rants. We love it from the show. I mean, as always, there's a lot still to talk about and not a lot of time as we're wrapping up on the back end of the show here. All I can say is this. I don't think Goldberg gets put in these situations really many times to lose, unfortunately. Now, if Drew does win, I think that truly will be the end of, you can't really put Goldberg back out there too many more times. And that's why I don't think he's losing. I think he wins. And I do think Miz cashes in. I don't know if he's successful or not, but I kind of hope it sets up for a triple threat between the three of them at the Elimination Chamber. And then you could have all the other guys who should earn a chance for the title, like your AJ Styles or your Sheamus. Those guys go in the chamber. So I'm hoping we get a triple threat between them three, which, helps an older guy like Goldberg when you got an extra guy in the ring. So great opinions there. But before we talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, we got to run through this quick. So don't give too much background. I just want to hear between these other two matches, your winners. It's Sasha and Carmella for the women's title on SmackDown. And on the Raw tag team title side, Nia Jackson, I'm sorry, wow, Shayna Baszler are trying again to get the titles back. So really quickly, we're going to go around the room and say about those two matches. I'll start. I think Sasha retains, and I think Asuka and Charlotte retain because I think Nia and Shayna should go separate. Alex, on to you.
Sasha Banks definitely retains, and then other side, the Raw tag team titles, they're gonna switch. They're gonna change to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. I think this is where you kind of see that split. Asuka and Charlotte were never a team to be put together in the first place.
Yeah,
Tampa Tones.
I agree with Alex there. I think that Asuka and Charlotte are a forced tag team. I think they lose tonight. I think they get split up. I think they're looking for more stable tag teams in the WWE, particularly the women's division. And Baszler and Nia is a formidable women's tag team, so I think they'll stick together. I think they'll win the belts. And then in terms of Sasha Banks, she'll probably win. I don't see her losing, to be honest. I think she's one of the biggest hot commodities heading into WrestleMania. So I can't see her losing.
You guys are taking all the things I want to say. These literally hit everything on the spot. Sasha Banks is the best women's wrestler at the moment. She's gotten way better on the mic. It's the most confident I've seen her in the ring and on the mic. So I really like what she's doing there. I can see her and Bayley feuding again for the belt at WrestleMania. As I know a lot of people are kind of sick of that, but I feel like it would be another really good match. And then opposed to the tag teams, I can see Asuka and Charlotte breaking up there, and then eventually fighting for the title.
And Cleveland.
I got Sasha beating Carmella. I don't think Carmella's a real threat to Sasha's title. The women's tag team title, I guess we'll go Shayna and Nia will win it back just so it could free up Charlotte and Asuka because this is around the WrestleMania season. So yeah, that's my two takes.
And obviously, we have a full card tonight with the two Rumbles that take up a lot of time. But guys, it wouldn't give us justice. We're in between here. Next Sunday at this time, we're going to be prepping for the Super Bowl. I think Tampa Tones might be having his third stroke by then at 2:30 p.m. Central Time, getting ready for this game. As I said,
having a stroke or stroking himself.
It depends what the score is. Could go either way on that one.
But it's going to be a big one. If you don't want to give your prediction because you all have your own shows, I realize that as well. But I thought Tampa Bay would represent the NFC from before the season. I did not have them against Kansas City, but I did have both teams winning last week. And on that note, as I stayed consistent here, I'm just going to start off with a bang and be disagreed with a lot and go Tampa Bay 27. Tampa Bay 30, Kansas City 27 is your Super Bowl final score. And I think Tom Brady is going to walk out as the ultimate GOAT, and Patrick Mahomes will never be able to catch him if he wins this one, in my opinion. Alex, over to you.
I've gone back and forth on this one, but I'm going to ride with TB12 on this one, 34-27. It's just the way it is.
Billy G.
Tampa 42 say 37.
Wow, we're 3 for 3 here. Cleveland, are you going to go the other way? Because I have a feeling you're the Kansas City man.
Oh, I am the Kansas City man. I just want to point out that Patrick Mahomes, if he would have got the ball back against Tom Brady in New England a few years ago, he would have went to 3 straight Super Bowls. I'm just saying. Tom Brady is the GOAT, but I think Mahomes, I don't think we had as good of a quarterback. We haven't seen one in the last few years as Mahomes. We're going to go score. I'll go 28-14. I think The Chiefs will mop the floors in Tampa Bay. I'm sorry.
Tampa Tones, that's just disrespectful.
I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's a prediction, and not very good one. It won't be very accurate. By the time the game's over, it'll be 37-28. Buccaneers will bring this one home by a 9-point difference. Tom Brady is never geared up for this game like ever before. He actually wanted to wear the number 7 this year because he was pursuing ring number 7. That just shows how bad he wants it. If he was going to risk the TB12's brand's image by changing numbers to go after a 7th ring, I think that just goes to show how bad Tom Brady wants this one. Patrick Mahomes is a good young pup, but he's like LeBron James. He's going to lose his fair share of titles, and this is one of those. He's not going to be the GOAT at the end of the day. Brady's on Jordan level. Mahomes is on LeBron level. That's okay.
You said you called him Joe. You called him a good pup. I think that is a great pup, if anything. I mean, we haven't seen a quarterback. I just started watching football a few years ago, I know, but I do my research.
Yeah, I said he's LeBron level. He's the second best, and that's his
that's
ceiling.
First of all,
hang on, hold on. Well, hang on.
That's the ceiling. I'm sorry, buddy.
Guys, hang on. We have a little time here, and I love it. And really quickly, I just wanted Ryu Kendrick has sent me his score prediction. So we are 4-1. Drum roll, please. Tampa Bay 38, Kansas City 27 from Ryu Kendrick, developmental wrestler. So shout out again. He wanted to give Tampa Tones the credit where it is due. As Ryu Kendrick will actually be in the Chi-Town area next week, enjoying the Super Bowl with his great friends, which is also going to be an awesome time. That being said, I know a couple of you watch this, but since we brought up LeBron and Jordan, if you haven't seen Big Mike Martinez on YouTube, break that down. Alex and I vehemently disagreed with his actions there, and we have a whole other show for that down the road, I am sure. But Michael Jordan's the GOAT. Tom Brady's the GOAT. The Rock is the GOAT. That's just how it is. When you go down the line.
That's all debatable, though. I think it is. Like,
no, it is not debatable.
There's no debate there. There's no debate.
This is the thing, though. LeBron James. I'm so glad we have.
You sound like Nick Wright, bro. You sound like Nick Wright. You're wrong all the time.
LeGoat, James, or formerly known as LeGoat James, the last few seasons, has exceeded every expectation that is set in front of him. Every year, people have tried to say LeBron is washed. It's the same thing with Tom Brady. You got to be realistic. People say Bron is washed every year. And what does he go do? He wins a champion. During all of that happened, the COVID, the pandemic, they played in the bubble. People want to make excuses, the Clippers and this and that. But at the end of the day, LeBron James at 35 years old, he's not a young man anymore. He's not his early 30s. He's 35 years old, still winning championships. Jordan was great. I'm not gonna knock Jordan. Jordan was the man, but realistically, he never had the expectations that LeBron James has had.
That Lakers team was great without Anthony Davis in that.
No, it wasn't. Oh, what are you talking?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Thank you for admitting that LeBron James led the Lakers to a shitty ass team. Thank you.
Hey. As the mediator here, and I want Alex to chime in quickly, but we're going to give our closing statements. I just want to say this. The one thing I look at, and we're going to move on, is when the difference is this. When LeBron goes to the championship, it's who's winning, him or the other team. When Michael goes to the championship, it's how many games is it going to take Michael to close it out and win it. But we cannot discuss this anymore. We have a whole show on row 7 where Cleveland and I talk about that. We have Big Mike Martinez's thing. Maybe we'll bring this same squad on in a Cleve and Me show and just dive into it. But Alex, I want to give you you can make a comment there and give us your closing thoughts. And again, where the people can find you at.
Well, I mean, the LeBron-Michael debate will go on for eternity. As far as I'm concerned, I will always and forever will be siding with number 23 from Chicago. That's just kind of way it is. 6 for 6 in the finals. It's ended discussion. And in terms of where you can find me at Row 7 Podcast on Twitter. Find me at Row 7 Podcast. If you want to listen to me on Spotify, Deezer, Stitcher, Apple, and Google Podcasts.
And honestly, it's a great local Chicago sports podcast. I turned it on the other day with, I think you had your cousin from Texas on, and I was listening to that talk about the whole Watsons thing. So please, if you haven't, all of our voices for the most part, can be heard on there as guests at some point as well. And it's all local Chicago sports. So, and they talk about other things, but that's the premise there. So a great show and a great follow. Again, at Row 7 Podcast can be found. Tampa Tones, give us a closing statement and where the people can catch you at.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. It was a lot of fun. You could follow me at Tricky Tones BGTE on Twitter, Tones the A-lister on Instagram, Bucketeers podcast, or Cracker Jacks Pod on Twitter as well. Go catch those out. Some great content. I enjoy being on everyone here podcast. It's always a good time. I think today was a lot of fun. And Cleve is a great guy. He just reminds me a lot of Nick Wright. There's just a lot of wrong in his arguments. No harm against him, but just not very optimistic for many arguments.
It's a whole bunch of Skip Baylesses around me. I see. All of you guys, Skip Bayless. Yeah.
Hey, Cleveland, you're gonna have your final turn, Billy. But before we do that, again, give us a final thought on where the people can follow you at.
Yeah, man, I appreciate having me on. I was really excited, amped up for today. We're gonna have to do this more often for these big pay-per-views because this was one of the more fun times I've had recording with you. People can find me at bgranats95 on Twitter. Tampa Tones and I have the awesome podcast of Cardboard and Cracker Jacks. A new episode should be coming out this week, so stay tuned for that. A lot of hot stove talk, and appreciate having me on.
And again, if you like your, baseball, especially if you like the card industry, you listen to this. Tune in weekly with Cardboards and Cracker Jacks. They give you the latest on your hometown teams and more around MLB baseball and the card collecting game. Also, this is our first time on YouTube, as our viewers know, and we will continue. I do agree with Billy Granato that this is a great way to do things. I think in the future, if this crew doesn't mind, I'm just going to break this news right now. I would like to do this at least every other pay-per-view, definitely for the Chamber. And definitely for WrestleMania with this same crew and, work our way through the finish line of what we call the Super Bowl and the Battle of the Immortals. So I just want to thank you guys once again, not only for the people listening and watching, but these people take time out of their days to be with us. And it's just been a blast, and we're going to keep that rolling. So thank you guys once again. In Cleveland, I want to let you get your final thought and where the people could follow you at, as many of them already know.
You can follow me. Actually, I'm on Twitter now more a little bit. So you can actually follow me at Twitter at Clevey the Goat 1. Again, that's Clevey the Goat 1 again. I'm usually posting, Lakers stuff or stuff about the show, some little comedy stuff, usually about LeGoat James or anything like that. But I will say, on a more serious note, this was really fun to do. Shout out Ryu for stopping by. Shout out Alex, Billy, Tampa Tones for stopping by. I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl. I believe it is next week. Don't worry. The Chiefs win. You guys will definitely be hearing from me. But on a serious note, this was really fun, and I can't wait till we do this for the Elimination Chamber and the Royal Rumble. WrestleMania.
And quickly, I want to give shout out to the other people that listen. Olivia, thank you. David Drake giving his best friend Billy some crap as well. So it's great. The boys interacted back from Naperville along with Brian and Troy and the gang. So I appreciate everyone that listened with Christian, Alex's brother as well. So we've had a great time here. And you know what, guys? It wouldn't be time if I didn't get my John Cena wristband going and my headband on. Because you can't see me, and we're over and out with my big head.
Jesus Christ.
Cleve and Me.
Oh, my God.